It's not only a cliche, it's a real life actual fact. Kids don't do as you say, they do as you do. And yeah, eventually they become our echo, but that's later. Starting in the womb, a baby experiences the world primarily through vibration. They feel the rhythm of your heartbeat, hear the cadence of your voice, sense your stress hormones, and move in sync with your breathing. This is called entrainment, where one system syncs its rhythm to another. A mother's heartbeat and breathing literally regulate a baby's developing nervous system. Are you catching how important that is? It doesn't stop there. When they're born, this is still happening. When they're toddlers, this is still happening. When they're teens and everything in between, this is still happening. So if you're stressed and rushed and reactive and going, then your kids are absorbing that energy. And get this, you're normalizing that energy the more you do it. Children learn more from what you are than what you teach. So they're learning from your habits, your habitual response to life. Our babies, our kids are observing and mimicking our every move in some way, shape, or form because they know they need to get by in this world and they look to us for guidance. And of course, we imprint on our offspring. Picture a duck and its ducklings. Due to our biological relationship and our geographical proximity to them. That is, until they cognitively develop the means to make their own decisions about how they want to respond to life. So let me pause right there and check in. When you think about the last 3 days, are you happy with what they're seeing from you? Do you like the example you're setting? If you're intrigued to hear more of my PSA, keep watching. Hi, I'm Yvette the Declutters, your Less is More coach and business mentor. And today let's talk habits, specifically how yours affects theirs. Let's also take a closer look at your habits as it relates to you being both mom and entrepreneur and what that's teaching your kids about balance. First, a disclaimer. I don't really believe there's such a thing as good habits and bad habits. They're just things we do. The effects of those things we do, however, one might say has a positive or a negative outcome. That's for you to decide. In either case, our habits serve us in some way, or we wouldn't hold on to them. Because by definition, a habit is an automatic pattern of behavior formed through repetition. We don't repeat behavior that doesn't offer us some benefit or boost our chances at survival. The habit loop. Consider the formation of a habit. So we can look at Charles Duhigg's habit loop from his book, The Power of Habit, which is cue, routine, reward. Cue, the trigger that initiates the behavior, like stress, boredom, or an external signal, be it a crying baby or a work email that you have to reply to ASAP. Routine, the actual behavior or action, what you automatically do in response to the cue. So shutting down, grabbing a snack, snapping at your partner. And reward, the feeling or outcome your brain associates with relief or satisfaction, like the dopamine hit from distracting yourself with sex, sugar, or substances. So he's saying the brain learns to repeat whatever brings relief or reward. Over time, it stops thinking about it. We do it on autopilot, and that's how habits stick. We can also look at Atomic Habits by James Clear, where he adds another layer. Cue, craving, response, reward. Cue, the trigger. Craving, the desire for a change in state or the feeling that drives the behavior. So you crave calm, pleasure, control, or escape. Response, the behavior itself, what you do to satisfy that craving. And reward, the outcome that reinforces the behavior and closes the loop. So he's saying craving is what gives habits emotional power. You're not craving coffee, you're craving the sensation of energy or focus coffee brings you. So why does this matter? Understanding how habits form helps us recognize and consciously rewrite the ones that no longer serve us and ultimately exemplify more healthy ones for our kids. The missing ingredient. But what's missing from both of these habit loops is belief. Belief drives behavior and therefore creates habits. Belief is the crux of any habit. What you believe about yourself, about the world, about what matters. Your habits, especially as a mom, create your family's rhythm and the flow of your household. Stress is contagious, and so is peace. Our kids mirror our energy, our behavior, not our instructions, no matter how loud you get. Your micro and macro habits build the emotional blueprint for their childhood. The more we become conscious of that, the more they benefit from the change they witness it cause in us. And they can then affect change in themselves too. See, it always begins with you. You have to be the change you wish to see in the world, in your home, in your business. It starts with you. The mirror effect. Okay, enough theory. Let's look at it in practice. A day in the life. You're at home with the kids, or out and about at the park, or running errands. If you reach for your phone when you're anxious, your kids learn avoidance. If you yell and scream the minute something is out of place or doesn't go your way, they learn impatience. If you rush through your day saying, "Oh, you're making mommy late, I have to go," your kids learn life is a race to the finish line, not a journey to experience. And then their nervous system spikes with adrenaline and anxiety. And what does that do to their sense of safety? If you take a breath and ground yourself, they learn self regulation. And imagine what they could do from that place. Now let's see how it looks for the typical entrepreneur mom, juggling business and babies, maybe not giving herself time to rest, and stressing at every inconvenience. If you apologize for resting, they learn that downtime is shameful. If you push through burnout, they learn to ignore their body's cues. If you beat yourself up for mistakes, they learn it's bad to make any. If you complain constantly, they learn to be victims, finding problems instead of creating solutions. If you scroll social every spare minute, they never learn to be comfortable in stillness. If you do too much and never ask for help, they learn to quietly chip away at their own wholeness. If you say, "I'm fine," when you're clearly not, they learn that self-worth equals performing. If you forgive yourself quickly and repair with them, they learn compassion, accountability, and the verb love. If you express gratitude for the little things out loud, they learn contentment and peace. If you celebrate your progress, they learn that growth matters more than perfection. If you pause before reacting, they learn the power of space and patience. If you turn frustration into curiosity, as if to ask, "What is this moment teaching me?" they learn clarity and perspective. If you light a candle, breathe, and center yourself before work, they learn ritual and reverence and living on purpose. If you sit and eat a home cooked meal with them at the dinner table, they learn what connection, family, and support feels like. Hopefully, that illustrates the authority position you hold in their lives to teach them how to live. So, in order to more positively affect your kids' upbringing, monitor your own habits because as they watch you, they're constantly learning how and whether to react to a situation or a sensation. And just last night, my youngest was fighting with his older brother, and he was getting loud and getting all into it in defense mode. And I stepped in and asked, "What's going on?" And they both took their chance to explain. And when I came to understand that my youngest probably thought that the situation required him to act that way against his brother, who was pretty nonchalant at that point, I offered up to him, "I hear you, and I would be frustrated too. And you know what? You can also learn to joke and laugh with each other and tell your brother, 'You're silly. That's no big deal.'" And believe it or not, they tried it and they started laughing and getting along like besties. The three reflections. So let's bring this home with three key reflections, not just to think about, but to feel in your body, because this is where the subtle shifts begin, the kind that ripple outward, changing not just your habits, but your child's emotional world. These reflections are how you respond in the face of dis-ease, the energy you bring into a room, and the clarity that guides it all. Your response. If we take what we learned about habit formation, we understand that our response is what reverberates in any situation. And we can immediately see the effects of our response on our kids. Do they slump in their seat or do they perk up with delight? They are mirrors for us and we are mirrors for them. Your response teaches regulation. Every time you choose presence over panic, a breath instead of a bark, you rewire your nervous system and theirs. You're teaching your child that discomfort isn't danger. Your emotions aren't emergencies. That peace is a practiced response. These are the subtle shifts that break generational cycles of trauma and despair and depletion. Not loud, dramatic overhauls, but quiet implementation of awareness. Your energy. Before language, children tune into vibration and rhythm and tone. Newborns synchronize with the heartbeat, the breath, and the emotional frequency of the mother or the caregiver. They sense your tension, your pace, your restlessness before they ever understand your words. Your heart's calm beat slows theirs. Your scattered energy quickens theirs. If you're living in survival mode, constantly chasing, running on fumes, multitasking, they learn the only way to live is in survival mode. But when you live with outspoken intention, grounded, present, patient, and attuned, they learn to do the same. Your energy, mom, sets the emotional temperature of the home. When you move slower, soften your tone, take time to replenish, your home can breathe again. When you thrive, they thrive. Your clarity. Behind all the above is clarity, the byproduct of presence and reflection. Clarity gives you the courage to face the long haul of building a business and raising a family without losing yourself to the chaos and the clutter. You want to be clear with what matters most in any season of life, because with clarity, you know your priorities and how to seamlessly shift into mom mode from entrepreneur mode and back. You know what's a hell yes and a hell no. You waste less time. You build a leaner, more flexible business that gives you the time to express yourself and enjoy the fruits of your labor. You exude what alignment looks like, not hustle, but harmony. Clarity makes space for joy, abundance, and opportunity for you and for them. It gives your kids the gift of watching their mom be rooted in purpose and passion, not buried beneath them. Show your kids how to deal with pressure, how to bounce back from setbacks, how to show up with ease and confidence. Show your kids how not just to build a career, but build an outlook on life. Because every small, simple, subtle shift you make in your response, in your energy, in your clarity becomes a behavioral pattern, and even the self-talk your kids will carry into their lives. And that's the legacy you're creating. Not just a thriving business, but a thriving lineage. If you're ready to stop living in survival mode and start designing rituals and routine and habits that feel a lot better, then download the One Simple Shift Habit Tracker for free in the description below. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters for the people who matter, including you. Because remember, you're not just a mom. Until the next one.